some exceptions, and let's dive in. There we go. Okay, so this is one of the exceptions that moths are dull and boring. This moth is called the Atlas moth, and it's from Southeast Asia, and it's the largest moth in the world. Its wingspan is a foot, and it's often mistaken to be a bird. Now, this moth is part of the silk moth family, which means that it has a lifespan of about 5 to 14 days, and it has no mouth, no digestion system. It is on Earth only for hanky-panky, and it has 5 to 14 days, depending on the species, to mate, for the female to lay the eggs, and that's that. And there's some butterfly species that are the same, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Such a big moth, it can't eat. It just can't eat. Okay, here's another one. This one is the robin moth, and it's the largest moth in North America, and it dips down into North Florida. Isn't that a beauty? All right. Now this one is also includes North Florida, and it's almost iridescent. Well, interesting enough about this moth is that it wraps itself up in a grapevine at night. During the day, and uses the grapevine like a hammock. One more. You ready? Isn't that moth gorgeous? I mean, gorgeous. It's from Madagascar, and it's called a sunset moth because it is a daytime pollinator. It flies during the day and it rests at night. Let's see if this is going to work. Now, notice this right in here, this body. See kind of furry that is? Well, those aren't furs, those are scales. And I'll get to that in a few minutes, the role of the scales on the moth. So, okay, enough gush. Let's get into the seriousness of Lunch and Learn. And y'all, here are all my resources. I mean, and this is just the surface. Moths are hot topics, absolute hot topics. People, scientists have been studying the bees and the butterflies, and they still are, but moths are the focus. And as I said, this is just the surface of the articles out there. Some interesting facts. Well, there are a whole lot more moths in this world than there are butterflies. And look at these numbers, 160,000 worldwide compared to 17.5. In the US, the number drops to 11,000 versus 750. And interesting enough, in Florida, we have a lot of moth species. We have over 800 compared to only 180 butterfly species, which includes the ones that migrate. Now, moths date back to 300 million years. But butterflies, they're youngins. They date back only to 100 million years, and they evolved from the moth. And the research is now thinking that they evolved for tastier food because there are more flowers out there that are open during the day, and maybe I guess the nectar is tastier, but that's the theory. Interesting enough, there is a whole National Moth Week compared to Butterfly Day, National Butterfly Day. Butterflies get one day, moths get a whole week. Who would have thunk it? Now, the life cycle of the moth and the butterfly are exactly the same. Exactly. You go from the egg to the caterpillar called larvae, then the pupates, and then the adult. Exactly the same. Now, there are differences between the moth and the butterfly. Most moths fly at night. There are exceptions. And most butterflies fly during the daytime. There are exceptions to that too. Now, the butterfly wings are definitely more colorful than the moths. And there's reasons, as I mentioned before. The first reason is that the male butterfly relies on vision, on its sight, to find its mate. And so it's looking for a butterfly with the same colors and the wings and the wing patterns, whereas the male moth uses its scent through its antennae to seek out its female mate through the pheromones of the mate. Now look at the very, 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 very magnified picture of the moth antennae. I mean, it almost looks spaceship-like, you know, space-like. Anyway, as I said, I'm becoming passionate. Another reason that there's a difference between the patterns and that the moth patterns are far more subdued is that the colors, the subdued colors, help them be camouflaged during the day while they're resting. Now, moths have a thicker coating of scales. Remember that picture of the Madagascar moth, and I pointed out what looks like fur? Well, those are really scales, thick scales. And the reason that they have these thicker scales, that they don't have the sun to warm up their bodies for flight. So they have to warm themselves. They agitate, they move all their muscles, and they get themselves warm. And those scales sort of act like a thermal blanket to prevent heat loss. Some fascinating facts. Those are just interesting. Now I'm getting into some fascinating facts. The greater wax moth, which is a Florida moth, has the highest known recorded sound frequency in the entire animal kingdom. Not just among moths, the entire animal kingdom. And the way they found it out, actually, a study was done by professors in Gainesville with the Florida Museum of Natural History, as they gently, I hope, and humanely, I hope, pinned the moth down and noticed the frequency, the reaction to various vibrations, and the higher and higher frequency and more vibrations. Moths have ears, yeah. Not all of them, but this one has an ear, and they were noticing the reaction to the higher frequency. Now, its caterpillar, there's a little rub here. The caterpillar kind of likes the wax and the beehives, hence the name wax moth. However, scientists have discovered that this caterpillar eats plastic and is able to digest it. So the scientists are trying to figure out, how do they do that? And maybe mimic in some way those digestive, the enzymes or whatever it is that's digesting this plastic, and extrapolate that into a way to rid the earth of unwanted plastic. The hawk moth, there are over 1,400 species of hawk moth, and it is probably the most studied hawk moth. And two of them really, really common, I'll show you pictures in a second, they have aided in the development of small flying robots. And the two moths, as I said, I'll show you in the next slide. But what happens is the moth hovers over the plant, and it's a fairly stocky looking critter, and its aerodynamics has fascinated scientists, and they wanted to mimic that for their small robots. Now, the two moths that have been studied for the small robot flying apparatus, one is the Manduca sexa, and the other is the Manduca etc. Anyway, these are really common. And does anyone recognize that caterpillar that is the caterpillar for the Manduca etc.? That is the tomato hornworm. Yes, it morphs into a hawk moth, sometimes called a spink moth, sometimes called a hummingbird moth. How about that? Now, the moths, and along with butterflies, but the moths have what's called a proboscis. I think I pronounced that right. It's a tongue. But the hawk moth has the longest one. It's up to 12 inches. Now, I found this fabulous video that shows this moth in action, but that also shows what it takes for scientists to be able to document nature. Take it away, John. John.
Okay.
Okay.
I share my screen here, so one
Okay.
second.
Be patient, y'all. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
This did not happen before.
It did not happen. No. Oh. Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the Madagascar. Did you see that, the Madagascar? Because that, remember, it was the Madagascar. Madagascar star on the YouTube. Do you think it was that one? I don't think so. This was the New York Botanical Gardens. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, why don't you put in New York Botanical Gardens?
Okay.
Yeah. Bear with us, y'all.
Well, I can just pull up a video of it here. Well, no,
Yeah, let's just see if we can find that one. Oh, that's it. Oh, is that the New York Botanical Garden article?
I think this is the article.
No, it's not. That's not New York
Botanical.
No, that's not the York. That's not it. No.
I have no idea why it's being blocked now.
I don't know.
Copyright.
Oh, I don't know why. No, it wasn't copy. New York. Oh well. Maybe I can send everybody. I'll send you the link, and you can send it out to everyone. Let's try that one. I don't think so. That's not it. I would go to the. Oh wow, my gosh, hear this.
Oh, let's see if we can just show a quick video of it.
Okay. Oh, that's nowhere. What is that? That is weird. Well, this is pretty good.
Below the pebble, a 12-inch long nectar tube, making it nearly impossible for any pollinator to reach the nectar of its prey. But one manages to do so. On this island of mutants, a night-flying hawk moth craves orchids with plenty of nectar. Finding them.
Thank you.
Oh, you got to go ahead and take the screen again here, Dena.
Okay, how do I do that?
I'll stop sharing.
Okay. All righty. Okay, I guess it. No, I don't want to leave the meeting. Oh, there we go. Am I on?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just share your screen.
Okay. All right, y'all. We're back. So, and I will send you the link to this incredible video. Maybe individually y'all could see it. It's really, really, really worth watching. It's only about 4 minutes. Okay. So as I said, many of the moths have ears, and that is one of the amazing ways they defend themselves, because even though they may not have the best hearing like the greater wax moth, they do have wonderful hearing. And another way they defend themselves is they do an acoustic mimicry. And am I on?
No, we can't see your screen.
Okay, because I don't see anybody, but I'm on. All right. So they do this acoustic mimicry. And
Dena, go ahead
yeah.
and press share screen and then PowerPoint again.
Oh dear, I can't. Oh, sorry, y'all. Maybe I should hit escape.
At the bottom.
Okay, there we go. Now? No. What do you want me to do?
You need to go down and like the icon that says share screen, click on.
Oh, there we go. I got out of whiteboard. Where is it? PowerPoint. Are we in?
You're in. So go ahead and put it on presenter mode and then you're good.
Okay. All right. Sorry, y'all. Oh, gosh. Way ahead of myself. Way ahead. Oh, okay. We did that one. I got to get into this. Okay. Here we go. Phew.
Awesome.
Phew. We're there. Okay. Now, so as I was saying, the moths have amazing ways to defend themselves. One is through the ears, and only about a third of the species have ears. And even though they don't have, as I said before, the hearing like the greater wax moth, they do fabulous hearing. The second way is what's called acoustic mimicry. And there are a bunch of moths, a lot of species of moths that mimicry the cry of the tiger moth species. And there are a lot of moths within the tiger moth species. So the caterpillar for the tiger moths eat a plant that has a very toxic substance to bats. Now, bats are the primary predator in the natural environment for the moth. And so the tiger moth caterpillar eats the substance and it gets imbued into the tiger moth wings. Very similar to the monarch, where the caterpillar eats the milkweed and the milkweed gets into the butterfly wings and the birds don't like the taste. Well, the same with a moth predator, the bat. The bat either gets very sick or he can even die from eating a tiger moth. And so after eons and eons and eons of time, the bat knows to avoid the tiger moth. Well, there are all these species that mimic the cry or the sounds of the tiger moth, and the bat thinks, oh no, tiger moth, pew, off it goes, and that moth lives another day. The next way they defend themselves, it's funny, it's called jamming, and it's the hawk moth. And the hawk moth is able to completely disrupt the bat's navigational system, its sonar system, by rubbing its genitals with those scales. And so it too lives for another day. The fourth typical way of the moths defending themselves is with their tails. And the Luna moth, which many of you I'm sure have seen, has no ears, it has no toxin, but it has a tail. And when they sense the approach of the bat, that tail gets wiggling and back and forth and completely confuses the bat. Can't find the head of the moth. Out of frustration, off it flies, and the Luna moth lives another day. Luna moths are silk moths, so they live a few more days, but it lives another day. And so there we go. Now, not some good facts. Moths are on decline, and the number one cause is the incandescent light that most of us have on our front porches. The moths are attracted to the light, thinking it's a moonlight. And the moonlight is somehow, it helps with their navigation. That's being studied. The result is that the moths and other insects attracted to the light, they fly in circles, constantly trying to find a direct path away from that light. And it's been studied that a moth visits a flower 62% less time during the night because of that confusion with the incandescent light. The constant light can inhibit the female sex hormone, can induce male sterility, and they die from collision, overheating, dehydration, or a predator thinking, "Oh, here I got it." So, but we can do something about that. We can dim those outdoor lights. We can actually just turn them off if you don't need them, or if you feel you absolutely have to have a light outside on all the time during the night, use an infrared bulb. Now, a few more Florida moths, and this is the Bella moth, and it's one of the daytime pollinators. And the Bella moth, along with its caterpillar, eats the seed pods of a very invasive and toxic pasture plant. It's called rattlebox. Now, there are actually some native rattlebox, but they are just as toxic as the invasive, and they're toxic to the livestock, to the horses and to the cattle. And so they help rid the pasture land of this terrible plant. And the second picture, this one right here, it shows the perspective of this tiny moth that has a wingspan of 1 to 1 3/4 inches, doing devastation to a noxious plant. Another interesting moth is the yucca moth, and it's the only pollinator for a Florida native called the Adam's needle moth. And this is a picture of that moth inside the flower. And the yucca is also a host plant for the yucca caterpillar. Isn't that gorgeous? This is why, this is the white lined hawk, sphinx, sometimes called hummingbird moth. This is the moth that most people get confused in thinking it is a hummingbird. It is fast, it flies 25 miles an hour. And interesting enough, the caterpillar, once it's finished feeding, it crawls off its food source and buries into the soil and sort of overwinters, whatever weeks or months that may be. And then this moth emerges. The nectar for the white lined hawk are long-necked flowers, night-blooming flowers like night-blooming cereus. And the host is just a whole variety of plants, trees, and shrubs, and which they nibble upon and then bury into the soil. Isn't that caterpillar cute? I mean, really cute. In fact, it is so cute that there is a town near Boone, Colorado that actually has a woolly bear festival. And so this is called the black and yellow lichen, and these are all Florida moths. And it too is a daytime pollinator. It is of the tiger family, tiger moth family. It has that nasty taste in its wings. The host plant is the lichen, and the nectar plants, goldenrod, sunflower, and a native called fleabane daisy. Last one, the best. This is the Io moth, and unfortunately it is in decline. It can be distinguished by those incredible eye spots, and this one will sting you. Most moths, 98%, this is part of the 2%, are harmless, absolutely harmless to humans. But this one will sting, will not kill you. It's just kind of irritating for a while, like a mosquito bite. When they're threatened, this is the second picture, when they're threatened, they flip their forewings forward, exposing those big eye spots. And apparently it's quite intimidating. The third picture is an example of how the more subdued colors of the moth work for camouflaging. And it's almost hard to tell between the leaf and the moth. Now, this is a silk moth. So it has the 5 to 14 days to live, and so it doesn't eat. But the caterpillar has 16 different host plants. You may be wondering, what is the value of the silk moth if it's not a pollinator? Well, it's food. It's a food source, and hopefully not a food source for the predators before the moths mate and the female moth can lay her eggs. So, okay, in conclusion, I'm going to read you a quote by a gentleman named Akito Kawahara. He is a professor at the Florida Museum of Natural History, and he's the one that's been doing a lot of research. Actually, they're two professors, but he's nationally and if not internationally known and for his research. And I want to read you this quote. We tend to appreciate butterflies because they're often flashy and charismatic, but we shouldn't forget about moths, which can be just as striking. Moths and plants are interacting some 50 million years before the first dinosaur roamed the earth. And those interactions help lead to the diversity we see in our planet today. So, thoughts, comments, questions? I guess I turn it back to you, John, so you can, or what do we do now?
I mean, if anybody has a question right now, like for Dena regarding moths, now's
a good time. I don't see any chats. No questions? Wow, I covered it all?
I can see the chat. It might be kind of hard for you to see it.
Okay, I don't see it.
But nobody's asking any questions just yet.
Wow. How about thoughts? How about comments? We can take those too. Has your perspective about a moth changed by any chance?
Or go ahead and stop sharing the screen and you can see the chat.
Okay, how do I'll stop sharing? Okay, all righty. So I don't see any, nobody has any thoughts. Well, okay.
Yeah, just
click down at the bottom.
Make sure to click the chat.
Be sure and click what?
There should be a chat icon and make sure to click that.
I don't see it.
It's at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, but I don't see it.
Oh.
Aha, chat. Okay. So this is a great
you're getting some questions in here now.
Okay, thank you. Very interesting. Thanks. Oh, thank you, y'all. Oh, interesting to know about that. Okay, is it the same woolly cattle as the one seen up north? I don't know, but my intuition says yes, because this is just, Florida is just part of mini moths range and not limit. The Florida moths include Florida in their range. Robert Edward, FAC, what does that mean? I don't know what FAC means. Oh, well.
Yeah, just go to the next one and maybe.
Okay.
Oh, fascinating.
Oh.
With and then here's
Thank you.
Bear.
There's a woolly bear festival, and no kidding. They're two, oh my word. Well, they are cute.
Oh.
They are cute.
So we want some more details on the waxworm.
Right.
What is a good source?
That's okay. Go for it. They do a lot of damage to beehives. You know, that's a rub. Oh, thank you. Okay, we well covered. At least the host plants are ours, and so we can propagate. Yes, absolutely. You can propagate all of them. And wow. Okay. I'm really glad y'all like this. You can see why I'm becoming passionate in the subject. And who would have thunk it about the moth? And I'm still researching, and I'll share it with John. How do we best attract the moths so we can see what moths are in our gardens? And I've read conflicting information, and I sent an email to this gentleman, Kawahara, but he hasn't responded. But there's a gentleman who's very much into lipidology, who happens to be on a board that I chair. So I'm going to contact Jarrett Daniels and see if he can help out. And once I find that information out, I'll share it. So, are moths attracted to yellow porch lights? No, no, just that white incandescent light. At least that's the research right now. It's just that white incandescent light. So do you say, no, where's your garden now? I have tried. I have a night blooming cereus, and that thing just constantly is blooming, and I so want to see what happens. But no, come 11, 12 o'clock, I'm asleep. So anyway, it's amazing that a particular moth can hear. Yes, that's up to them. I think, wonder why it would evolve in that direction. It's probably a question for you doctors in the audience. That means you, John.
Aliens, right? Like they evolved for a totally different environment than here. So
right, yeah. They didn't say why, the article that I read, but I'm sure there's a reason. You know, nature at its best. So, okay. Anybody else? Any other thoughts, comments? I'm really glad you enjoyed this. And John said that he is going to make this available soon.
on YouTube.
On YouTube, very soon. So, okay. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, Dena. I think hopefully we all learned a lot today. And I feel like, I mean, just keeping that, you know, the difference between butterflies and moths, and like emphasizing like how they're different, like that they're a lot older and that type of thing. That's why there's a lot more of them too, maybe, right? Like they've had more time to diversify. Like
I don't know.
I think they're super cool, and we're looking at maybe getting more into this type of stuff too. Like, so we'll keep you all posted on that front as well.
Maybe we can bring down one of the professors from the Florida Museum of Natural History. There are 3 that could come down and talk to us. 2 definitely have published papers. So you can use your influence as our agricultural agent.
I'll see what I can do. So, that has been a nice perk of one of the few plus sides of COVID is that I've been able to network a little bit more with potential speakers and stuff like that, and I could definitely, you know, cast a wide net and see what happens. So definitely, I would love to have some of those people talk. But I guess moving into all members land, I really don't have a whole lot to tell everybody this week. There's really not a whole lot going on week to week at this point. We will have an advisory committee meeting on next Friday.
Oh, okay.
Which will be the 14th. So that's something to keep in mind. I'll send all the links out for anybody that's interested in attending. Like, it's open to everybody to attend, but just keep in mind, like, it's more of you can view it, but you can't really participate when it's going on unless you're a member of the advisory committee. So
no, they can. They can participate. It's at the discretion of the chair, but they can participate. Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
I was kind of under the impression that like.
No.
Okay.
No, they can't vote.
Gotcha.
If we have anything to vote on, they can't vote, but they certainly can participate. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have many more years of experience. So thank you, Dena. So somebody's posting something up here. I believe the idea is to have for wondering if we like the co-captain for the inside the food vendors for the plant festival. Okay. I believe the idea is to have several, so this is from Andrea Carter. I believe the idea is to have several food vendor kiosks in the exhibit hall, kind of like food and wine at Epcot minus the wine, unfortunately. Winky. Perhaps an emphasis on the restaurants highlighting select menu options. This is to provide more food options in addition to the food trucks outside. There might be a chili cook-off for master gardeners as well. I would need help determining and contacting the best food vendors, possibly coordinating the cook-off, as well as planning logistics in the exhibit hall. Let me know if you're interested. Thank you. So yeah, if anybody's interested in helping out with the vendors, I think specifically, yeah, the food vendors inside, please contact Andrea Carter. But I guess outside of that, just keep the emails on your radar. I will keep contacting you and keeping you all notified on the comings and goings and what's going on here via email. But it's kind of gotten to be kind of a quiet point here now that the remote plant clinic is moving along, and the regular plant clinic is back open in the mornings. But we can't really be active in too many other ways outside of that, and the gardens as well. So, but anyway, I guess we'll go ahead and call it here. We're at 12:41. So if you guys want to go ahead and get half an hour for continuing education and 15 minutes for volunteer hours, that's fine. And I'll go ahead and open things up again for anybody that wants to stick around and try and talk in these chats. I'll go ahead and open those up. So other than that, everybody stay safe, wash your hands, wear masks, etc., and try to avoid too much going out in public. And I'll see you all next week. Next week will be Vigi Zavala from here. She's one of the agents, and and she will be our last lunch and learn speaker before we go on a brief hiatus until I think it's September 9th. So then we'll resume and lunch and learn, and it will be every other week as opposed to every week. So just check your email. I've even got a tentative schedule that I set up for you guys to see as well. So all right, everybody take care, and I'm gonna send you guys into the breakout rooms. Take care, everybody.